In this lesson, we are going to speak about negating the verb, the fi'lun. The different methods of negating the fi'lun in Arabic. So, we begin with our first type of sentence that comprises of a fi'lun, a verb, which is the Muhammad.
You want to give me a verb?
Yeah, a normal verb.
Kataba.
Right. Kataba. We like kataba, right? Kataba. Kataba means
He wrote.
he wrote. Okay, what type of verb is kataba ya akhlaqu? Akhlaq, no, don't say that.
Third person verb.
What kind of verb is kataba? Al-madi, al-mudari?
So,
What? Al-amr? Akhlaq. Al-madi, past tense.
right.
Al-fi'l al-madi, right? Is that what you're going to say, Muhammad? It's fi'l al-madi, right? With kataba means he wrote. So, if we want to say he did not write, kataba means he wrote. We want to say he did not write. Yes, akhlaq. How do we say he did not? ما كتب ما كتب. That's nice and easy, right? I told you this lesson, be nice and easy. ما كتب is he did not write. There's nothing complicated about that, right? So ما كتب is he did not write. And it's literally that simple. So if we had the remainder of our jumlatul fi'liya, ما كتب الولد الرسالة, ما كتب الولد الرسالة, which means
He, the boy, did not write
the boy did not write الرسالة,
the message
the letter.
or the letter.
Okay, or the message.
Or
Right.
how many messages are?
Yes, as we're in the age of the text message, right? So that's normal. So, الرسالة القصيرة النصية. That's the short text message. Right. So ما كتب is he did not write. Okay. So for the fi'l al-madi, we negate with a ma. That is al-madi, the past tense. That's not correct. Al-madi. Right. So, how do we say akhlaq? What's the present of kataba, the present tense of kataba?
كتبت.
No, the present tense.
كتب.
Yaktubu.
Yaktubu. You're still thinking about the past tense. Yaktubu. Okay, that is al-mudari, the present tense. Okay, so that's what I divide between these. Yaktubu is he is writing. What if we want to negate that?
La.
He is not writing. We use
La.
la, or we can use
Man.
not man. Man means whom. So kalimatul istifham. Ya akhlaqu, la or ma. Told you this one was easy. La or ma. Okay? La or ma yaktubu means he is not writing.
No.
Okay. واضح? Clear يا أخلاقه?
Yeah.
Right. So that's straightforward so far. كتب is negated with the ma, and that's al-madi. يكتب is negated by la or ma, and that's al-mudari'. Right? So, next we have yaktubu again, but this time yaktubu, but this time we're going to use lam. Lam. Right? Lam. What does lam do to yaktubu? We have yaktubu, which means ya akhlaqu.
He's right.
He is writing. We introduce lam, and the first thing that happens is the dhamma becomes a sukoon. Right? And there's the fourth and the final state that a word can be in, and that is called majzumun. Majzumun. Majzumun means when it ends with a jazm, which is a sukoon. Right? So it was yaktubu, and now it's yaktub with a lam before it. But what's the meaning of lam yaktub?
He will not be writing?
No. He did not write. It has the same meaning of ma kataba. Now when I say it has the same meaning, at a general level, when we're learning initially, we accept that lam yaktub has the same meaning as ma kataba. In certain instances, particularly in certain ayat in Al-Quran, some of the grammarians have made reference to a difference in the meaning. Okay, but we're not going to mention that yet because it might become a bit confusing. But when we're learning, we just accept that lam yaktub is the same as ma kataba. So what effect therefore has lam had on yaktub by placing it there?
Change it to madi.
Right, it's made it in the past, isn't it? Ya akhlaq. It's made it into the past. So the present, yaktubu, he is writing, became lam yaktub, he is not, he did not write. Don't confuse lam yaktub, like I just nearly did, with ma yaktubu or la yaktubu. That he is not writing, and this is he did not write. Right? So that's lam. He did not. Okay? And then we have the other one, which is again using the yaktubu example. He is writing, and we have lan. Good Muhammad. Lan. Okay? So lam and lan. So if a lam makes this the past, What does lan do to it, ya akhlaq?
Present.
Not the present,
Same.
the same.
The past.
No, the future.
That's the way of it.
Right? Makes it the future. And what happens? The dhamma becomes
So,
not sukoon, a fatha. And we know what that state is called. It is called the
Mansub.
mansubun. That one's easy, you see, because you already know it. And there are only 4 states. Marfu'un, mansubun, majrurun, and majzumun. So lan or yaktubu becomes lan yaktuba. Now, what does it mean therefore, lan yaktuba?
He's not going to do it.
He will not be.
He will not write. He will not write.
So you don't need to add the scene like you
No,
for the future.
no, you don't need to add the scene. Lan makes it into the future, right? Lan yaktubu, he will not write. Is that clear? These two are not particularly difficult. You just have to remember that yaktubu becomes majzumun with a sukoon. And when it's yaktubu, when it's this conjugation, and yaktuba or yaktubu becomes yaktuba with a fatha in this conjugation. Lam makes it the past and lan makes it the future. So remember the ayah at the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, وَإِن كُنتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ. Right, that ayah that we used to read and still read and have been since we were children. What is the ayah that follows it? فَإِن لَمْ تَفْأَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْأَلُوا. Right, we're reading that ayah for many years. And what does it mean? فَإِن لَمْ تَفْأَلُوا لَمْ تَفْأَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْأَلُوا لَنْ تَفْأَلُوا فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ التي وقودها الناس والحجارة وعدت للكافرين. Right, that's the ayah. So fear of fire whose fuel is a men and stones prepared for those who disbelieve. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْأَلُوا. So there's a فَإِن. فَإِن. Right. So note that we have a lam here and lan here. Lam and lan. You see that akhlaq? So what does it mean? What does it mean? Lam taf'alu wa lan taf'alu.
They will not do. They won't do.
You.
Oh, is that you?
Right. Now, that's the point, right? Taf'alu is majzumun. And taf'alu here is mansubun. But they look the same, don't they? Why? Because ordinarily, if there was no lam before it, it would be taf'aluna. And this would be taf'aluna. If there was no lam or lan, it would be taf'aluna and taf'aluna. Taf'aluna is you, plural, male, but in this context it's male and female. Okay, so you, plural, male, a doing from fa'ala. Okay, fa'ala. Fa'ala means he did. Taf'aluna means you plural male are doing. Okay? So, what the ayah therefore means is, if we introduce a lam again, lam taf'alu, right? So the noon gets dropped, like that. We drop the noon, and we write an alif, even though it's not pronounced. That is the majzuman state of taf'alu. The majzuman state. So there's no sukoon. You can't add a sukoon. Right? But the majzuman state is that you drop the noon and you write an alif. And similarly, if we do introduce a word lan, can you see? We can't, how do we add, or how do we make this mansubun now? It's because you might think, well, it's already mansubun because of the fatha, right? Can you see that? The mansubun with a lan, and you might think that that's already mansubun, but it's not mansubun. That's just the way that it's written and pronounced. So what do? We drop the noon and we write an alif even though it's not pronounced. So it means, remember the ayah is talking about that in kuntum fi raybin mimma nazalna ala abdina, that if you are in any doubt about that which what we have revealed to our slave, fatu bi suratin min mithlihi, then bring forward a surah like it. وَدْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُمْ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And then call your shuhada, your witnesses besides Allah, if indeed you are truthful. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا. But if you لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, if you didn't do that, وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا, or you will not do that, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ, then be afraid of an-nar. Right? So, what's important here is to recognize that, and that's why I said, in this form, third person, singular, male and female, right? Where it normally ends in a dhamma, where your verb normally ends in a dhamma, like yaktubu, the majzuman state becomes one with the sukoon, and the mansuban state becomes one with the fatha. Right? Akhlaq.
So, if I was to say kataba plural male, so it would be lam taqtalu without the noon. Put the alif there.
Yeah, we're going to mention that. But first of all, I just wanted to introduce this ayah to illustrate that that's a madsuman and that's mansubun. And that's how we formed it, by dropping the noon, replacing it with an alif even though it's not pronounced. Right? So, once we understand that, therefore, we need to recognize that some of the verb conjugations which don't end with a dhamma, that they are formed by dropping the noon. Okay, so the ones that we just looked at, therefore, right? Yak, how do we say they plural male are writing?
Yak.
To
Buna.
right. Yak to buna. Okay. Yaktubuna. If we want to say they, plural male, did not write, we negate it with lam. So akhlaq, what do we do with the ending? How do we make it majzumun? Right, we drop the noon and we replace it with the alif. Lam yaktubu. And it's the same with, so they plural, or not they plural, you plural, male are eating.
Was eating akala.
Sorry?
Yaktulu.
Ta'kuluna. You plural male, ta'kuluna. Right? We want to say you plural male will not eat. It becomes lan ta'kulu. We drop the noon, don't we? And it becomes lan ta'kulu. Right? We plural male or female are drinking. So shariba is he drunk. How do you say we are drinking? We.
Sharabna.
That's the past tense, ya akhlaq. Nash rabu. Nash rabu. So akhlaq, we want to say we did not drink. How do we negate nashrabu in order to say we did not drink? We did not. You've only got a choice of one or the other.
Lam.
Lam. Lam nashra. And then how do we make it majzoom? Ya akhlaq, how do we represent a majzoom state? No. Remember, when it ends in a dhammah, then it's easy. It becomes nashrab. Right? So, we are sitting. How do we say that, Ya Muhammad? We are sitting. Naj lisu. Naj lisu. So how do we say, Ya Muhammad, we will not sit?
Lan.
Lan.
Najlisa.
Najlisa, good. Can you see the akhlaq? What state, ya akhlaq, is najlisa now in? Marfu'un. Ya akhlaq, does that look like a dhammah? Mansubun. Right? And we've negated it with a lan. So we've made it into the future. Lan najlisa, we will not sit. Okay? So remember that where your fi'lun ordinarily would end with a dhammah, okay? That's easy. It becomes a majzumun when you have a lam, and it becomes a majzumun with a sukoon, and mansubun with a fatha where you have a lan preceding it. Where it's plural, right, and ends with the waw and the noon, una, okay, like that, then, like in these two examples, you drop the noon and you add an alif. Okay? So that just leaves one other type, which is the dual. The dual. Okay? So how do we say they dual are looking?
How do you say looking?
Nadara.
Another. So
It's
is it male they or female they?
male.
Male is
Yandurani. Why did I write it like that? Yandurani. Okay. Yandurani, they, plural male, are looking. Okay. They dual male are looking. They dual male. They dual female are looking is Tandurani. Yandurani, Tandurani. With a ta. Okay? So how do we make that majzoomun? What are we going to do, ya akhlaq? If we say they dual male did not look, what happens?
alif.
You drop the noon?
I say drop the alif.
You think drop the alif. You mean, and it becomes like that.
And then
Yandurani.
then you take the majroor mafnood and add it.
No, I think you should stop that. Right, I think that's enough of your speculation. Let's go back. Yandurani. Akhlaq was correct. You dropped the noon. The noon has gone. The noon has gone when you add a lam or when you add lan. The noon is gone. Can you see that? So it becomes lam yandura. Lam yandura. Lam yajlisa. Lam yashriba. Lam yakula. Lam yaktuba.
What if it's a female plural?
Dual. Oh,
Because
it stays the same.
it stays the same.
It stays the same. Right? It stays the same. But is that clear? Yandura, they dual male. Lam did not look. Lan will not look. You drop the noon. Just like the other duals. You two male, Tandurani are looking. Tandurani, whether you put lam or lan, you drop the noon. Tandura, just like this. So where it's a dual, you drop the noon. So when it is male plural, either yaktubuna or takuluna, they or you, we drop the waw and the noon and we write an alif. Right? When it's singular, well, not when it's singular, but when it ends in a dhamma ordinarily, like when it's singular, nashrabu, or rather ashrabu, or tashrabu, or yashrabu, or nashrabu. When it's plural but it ends in a dhamma, then it just becomes sukoon. And when it is dual, then you drop the noon. So Muhammad asks, but what about when it's female plural? How do we say they, female plural, are writing?
يكتب
يكتبنا.
يكتبنا
يكتبنا. And you'll be pleased to know that whether you put lam before it or lan, it stays the same. That's good, isn't it, Muhammad?
also it stays like that.
Stays like that.
Alhamdulillah.
So it becomes nice and easy. Right? But this, inshallah, is not difficult because you will see many, many instances. And also you should be vigilant and aware when you're reading the Quran, looking out for these in addition to all the other rules that we've now discussed. And that will strengthen your understanding and your ability to identify them when you're looking for them. But if you carry on reading and reading without paying attention to these matters, then it will never become solidified. Right?